Hello everyone, my name is Martin Linksfeld and I am Master Chef at foggykitchen.com. In this short video, I would like to explain how to use OCI Registry, Container Registry with a Docker image created for the pods deployed in OCI Container Engine for Kubernetes. I will use a publicly available GitHub repo covering Terraform automation for this exercise. Therefore, all elements will be deployed with Oracle Resource Manager. Okay, here is our topology diagram. As you can see, within one region, we will have one VCN, and our Kubernetes cluster will be deployed in 3 subnets. For the purpose of worker nodes and our deployments, we will have one private subnet. We will have additional subnet for OCI API endpoint, and of course, some subnet publicly visible for load balancer. Additionally, here on the right, you can see publicly available Container Registry, OCI registry, where we will try to upload our own image. So we will first create a Docker image with Docker build, then this image will be pushed with Docker push directly into our container registry, and ultimately within our Terraform code we will have local exec which will be responsible for executing kubectl apply command with YAML file which will include the proper link to our container registry, to the URL which will be used. And that is mostly all, and now we can try to do our code review. I am now in a local copy of my repository. Let me start this code review with a variables.tf file. As you can see here in line 7 and 8, we have 2 variables which have empty values and will be obligatory necessary for us to populate them with some values, right? For the username, it will be a OCI username. For the user password, we will be talking about OCI out token. Both elements will be necessary to access our OCI registry, container registry. If we scroll down here, we have other variables which will be necessary to create the access to OCI registry. Some of them are empty, some of them are pre-populated. I will explain it later. Now let's take a look here. Here is our cluster. So we are creating OCI cluster, then we are creating OCI node pool. All of that will be nested in a network structure. So for pods, we will have dedicated private subnet. We will have also this subnet for API endpoint, and of course we have also dedicated subnet for load balancer. If we scroll down not the network.tf file, at the very end we will have 3 subnets as I have mentioned, right? So API endpoint subnet, pods subnet, and LB subnet for load balancer as a service. And that is the foundation, but then we need to somehow make a deployment, right? So let me go to deploy.tf file, and here is the magic of this lesson. First of all, as I have mentioned, we need to create a Docker image. So for the purpose of the Docker image, we have 2 templates which will be used. One for a Docker file. So let me go to templates here. So as you can see, we will create a Docker file with very limited content, right? We will create Docker image based on Nginx mainline Alpine. And then we will copy, or we will just update the original index HTML file with our own file. And this index HTML will be created based on the index template HTML. So as you can see, it will be a simple sentence here, hello, here is Foggy Kitchen deployed in OCI based on the image taken from OCI Registry, and here will be the URL of our image. And this template will be used by our code. So how it will be used? Look at this one. Here we have Docker file deployment, local file, and here is index HTML deployment. So both of them will be rendered, right? Of course, as I have mentioned, because it's a template, we need to somehow pre-populate this templates with some content, right? And pre-population is defined in data sources. So if we scroll down, here we have our definition, right? So for Docker file deployment, in fact, we will not inject anything at the moment, but in the future, maybe we will have some, variables. For index HTML, we will inject image URL, right? So that is the plan for Docker operations. So when we are talking about Docker operations, let's return back to deploy.tf. So here we have null resource deployed to OCI registry, and what exactly provisioners or local execs are doing. First of all, we need to somehow log into our OCI registry with Docker login, right? We are passing the URL. We are also passing our username with namespace, and of course we also need to inject this out token somehow, right? So that's why password will be on standard input. Okay, that is the first step in this procedure. Next, we need to remove previously created images in Docker, just in case. Then we are executing Docker build command. It is necessary to tag the image with the proper URL of our Docker registry. And ultimately, we are just executing Docker push. And it means, in fact, after this command, our image created a few seconds ago will be uploaded, right? And then, of course, we will remove any remains of our operation. And what next? So it looks like our image is already there in a registry, so we can continue with the regular deployment with kubectl, right? So what else should we do? For sure, we need to create a service, but this is not the essence of this lesson. But for sure, we need to create pod deployments. And what is different from many other lessons in this course, here for containers, we are injecting image URL for our containers, right? So this is again thing which is defined by data sources .tf. So if we scroll down, here is a definition of our engine X deployment. So we are injecting number of replicas. On the other hand, we are injecting our image URL. So what does it mean? In fact, it means kubectl will know where to find the image. And how all of that continues, if we scroll down to deploy OCI Nginx, we are obtaining the configuration for kubectl, right? We are then creating the secret, which is what is necessary, right? Because kubectl should be able to access OCI registry, right? So we are creating Docker registry secret with the credentials, username, and password. Then we are executing kubectl apply, and this command will execute, will deploy Nginx according to the template which I have shown you a few seconds ago. Then we will apply for our service. So kubectl apply. We will wait 60 seconds, and after a while we will have kubectl get pods executed and get services. We will extract through this construct IP address of our load balancer, and we will also show it here in our output. Of course, for the purpose of cleaning up everything during Terraform destroy, we have here those sections of the provisioner. And that is mostly all. And now we are ready to jump into our deploy button and my repository in GitHub. Okay, I am now in my repository on GitHub. So let me scroll down and I will click here Deploy to Oracle button. I will be transferred immediately to the wizard. So let me click here to accept terms and conditions. Then I will choose Resource Manager compartment, and I can then click Next. So here I have to choose the availability domain, which will be the first availability domain. I will decide to deploy just 3 nodes for my OCI cluster, and then I need to provide the registry, container registry username and the password. So let me go directly to the console, and here I will generate the out token for me, right? So it will be OCR out token. Let me generate it. I will copy that token directly into the clipboard. I will return here and the password will be injected. Next, I need to provide the username. So it will be Martin Linksfeld. So let me copy that here. And this is everything what is needed. So let me click Show Advanced Options. And here we can, of course, customize things, but I will stay with the default configuration. So let me click Next, and then I will create the stack, and the Terraform apply command will be executed immediately. Now I will pause the recording and we will wait for the finish of this job. Okay, looks like the job is finished, so Resource Manager has deployed everything. Let's verify if our customized application is currently visible under this IP address. So as you can see, here we have the message, hello, here is Foggy Kitchen deployed in OCI based on the image taken from OCI registry, and here is the address of our registry. So let me go directly to the console. So as you can see here we have a cluster, fair enough, and let's verify if we have container registry in place. So let me move to the proper compartment, Resource Manager compartment, and as you can see here we have our image which has been used to deploy the application. But first of all, I think we should just try to understand what our code has done step by step in practice, right? As you remember, first we need to log in directly into a Docker registry, which is our container registry in OCI. We have provided the password out token, right? We have provided our user, which is here, and then login was succeeded, and then we are removing all the images just in case. Then we are building our Docker image, which is happening here, right? So we are accomplishing the whole process here. So the image is built, Then we are tagging the image, right, with our registry tag, and then we can make a push, right? And the push is successful, what you can see here, completed after 12 seconds. Then we can obtain the kubectl config with this command, right? Next, we can create Docker registry secret, and the secret is here, the password is here. Then we have kubectl apply for Nginx and kubectl apply for the service. And after a while, as you can see here, we have pods, 10 of them, right? And all of them are running, and we have this service which I have tested, right? And here also we can see the curl command, and we are obtaining the web page which was visible here as well. And that exercise concludes the whole lesson, and I hope it was interesting for you, and see you soon in the next lesson.